Noah was just 19 years old when a truck driver discovered him along a quiet highway in Terrell, Oklahoma. When the driver found Noah, he was in a strange state, naked and wearing mismatched shoes. Nearby, a pair of shorts that belonged to him was found, but they were completely undamaged. Eyewitnesses provided conflicting reports about Noah's clothing and the timeline of events, particularly regarding when Jack, Noah's best friend, learned of Noah's death, leading to confusion about the circumstances surrounding the incident. The autopsy revealed Noah suffered from multiple blunt force injuries, with no signs of being hit by a vehicle, suggesting he may have been attacked elsewhere before being left on the highway. Noah Presgrove was a vibrant, young man with a zest for life. Born in Oklahoma on May 14, 2004, Noah grew up in the small town of Comanche, surrounded by his loving family and close-knit community. Despite his young age, Noah had already accomplished so much, excelling in various sports like soccer, baseball, football, wrestling, track, and cross-country. Noah was known for his infectious personality, always making people laugh with his pranks and jokes. He was a true country boy, fearless and spontaneous, who loved the outdoors and spending time with his loved ones. Noah's charisma drew people to him, and he had a special way of making everyone feel welcomed and happy. At the age of 17, Noah emancipated himself and moved in with his grandmother, whom he adored. He took on the role of caretaker, ensuring that his grandmother and great-grandmother were well taken care of. Noah's selflessness and dedication to his family were a testament to his kind heart and strong character. On September 4, 2023, Noah's lifeless body was discovered naked on the side of a rural road in the early morning hours. The circumstances surrounding his death were suspicious, and authorities have not yet announced any persons of interest or suspects. Noah's family and community are devastated by his untimely passing, and they are determined to find justice for him. The rumor mill has been running rampant due to the limited information released by authorities, and the family has been relying on social media posts, news outlets, and expert opinions to piece together what happened. Noah Presgrove was a young man with a bright future ahead of him. After graduating from high school in May 2023, he was unsure about his career path and decided to take a year off to figure things out. He considered becoming a welder and even had his heart set on joining the military, planning to enlist with a family member in 2024. Noah's life took a tragic turn on Labor Day weekend of 2023. He had originally planned to attend the Rocklahoma Music Festival with his aunt and uncle, but decided to bring a younger friend along. When his aunt refused to take responsibility for the underage friend, Noah made other plans. On Friday night, Noah attended a local high school football game with family and friends. There, he learned about a party being hosted by a 22-year-old friend in Terrell, Oklahoma. The party was heavily documented on social media, showing typical college party activities. In the early morning hours of Monday, September 4th, Noah's life was stolen from him. At around 5:53 a.m., a semi-truck driver noticed what appeared to be a person lying on the southbound shoulder of US 81 in Jefferson County, about a mile north of the party location. The driver went to Terrell to turn around and confirm what he had seen. When the driver returned to the area, there were at least 2 white vehicles present, including a white service truck. Tragically, the driver had indeed seen a person in the road, the naked and mangled body of 19-year-old Noah Presgrove. 911 was called immediately, and the local volunteer fire department and Jefferson County Sheriff's Department arrived on the scene. It wasn't until around 7 a.m. that Noah's family was finally notified of the accident. His brother, Dallin, thought Noah was just badly hurt and potentially being taken to the hospital. When they arrived at the scene, they were met with the shocking reality that they had lost their loved one. Noah's body was found lying on the southbound shoulder of the road, facing away from the road in the fetal position. He was completely naked, except for 2 different shoes, one Adidas that belonged to him and a gray Hey Dude slip-on shoe that didn't belong to him. A pair of white shorts was neatly folded on the ground just a few feet from his body. When Noah's body was discovered, it was surrounded by strange and disturbing clues. Among the items found were 3 broken pieces of a white chain he often wore, scattered teeth, and clumps of hair. One piece of hair was even found on the road, while another was stuck to his body. On one of his legs was a drawing of a stick figure, and his body showed signs of severe damage. As investigators arrived at the scene, they couldn't help but wonder what had happened. It didn't look like a typical hit and run. His pants were folded neatly nearby, and his tooth was found in a circle close to his body. The placement of everything felt odd, leading them to question the initial assessment that it was a simple accident. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Department initially believed it was a hit and run, but Noah's family felt differently. They were confused about how he ended up in such a condition, a mile away from the party he had attended. Why was he naked? Why were his shorts folded beside him? And why was he wearing mismatched shoes, one of which didn't belong to him? There were no tire marks or debris on the road to suggest a car had hit him. The only blood found was on the sheet covering Noah's body and a small pool beneath his head. There was no sign that he had been thrown across the road, which would have been expected after a serious impact. Everything, including his belongings, was too close to his body, leading his family to believe something more sinister had occurred. When the Oklahoma Highway Patrol took over the investigation, they quickly noticed the suspicious state of the scene and Noah's body. They began to question what had really happened that weekend. The autopsy results would reveal even more horrifying details. Noah's skull appeared crushed, and he had bruises all over his upper body. His fingertips were nearly shredded, indicating extreme violence. Noah had not driven to the party, so he would have relied on someone else for a ride. However, the investigation faced challenges due to the initial lack of thoroughness and the reluctance of witnesses to come forward. The sheriff's department had made a hasty conclusion about the case, unaware of the party that Noah had attended. As Noah's family sought answers, they felt frustrated by the investigation's slow progress. They wanted to know who was the last person to see him and how he ended up with such horrific injuries. The lack of a proper investigation at the start raised concerns, and they were determined to ensure Noah's story was not forgotten. The family knew that someone out there had answers and that they needed to keep pushing for justice. Noah's tragic death left a deep impact on his community, and they rallied together to support his family in their quest for the truth. The investigation was far from over, and everyone hoped that one day, they would uncover what truly happened to Noah Presgrove that fateful weekend. As the investigation into Noah Presgrove's death progressed, it became clear that several missteps had been made in the initial handling of the case. Noah's family accused the authorities of failing to properly secure the crime scene, allowing evidence to be moved, and permitting people to remain on the scene who should have been questioned. Despite Noah being last seen at a party just down the road from where his body was found, the house was never searched. By the time the Oklahoma Highway Patrol and OSBI took over the case, they were told they lacked the legal grounds to obtain a warrant for the property. This was incredibly frustrating for Noah's family, who felt that not checking the last known location was a critical oversight. The only items of Noah's that were recovered from the party were his 2 phones. His shirt, shorts, wallet, and other shoe were unaccounted for and mysteriously vanished. Noah's family believed these items could have provided valuable clues about what happened to him, especially his wallet, which may have indicated if this was a robbery gone wrong. Knowing that the entire weekend had been heavily documented on social media, Noah's family tried to collect whatever information they could from people's stories and Snapchats. They hoped it might show if Noah had been with someone he barely knew, if there had been a fight, or if he could be seen wandering off in the background. However, according to the family, when they went to look, everyone had allegedly deleted their posts from around the time Noah's body was found. Party attendees denied this claim. The OSBI declared Noah's death suspicious and said they were waiting for the medical examiner's office to determine the cause of death. Noah's aunt expressed frustration at the lack of information being released due to the ongoing investigation. The recent high school graduate had planned to join the military, and his family spoke about his passion for sports and the love he had from the community. They pleaded for anyone with information to come forward and help bring them closure. Authorities interviewed around 40 people who had been at the party that weekend, but no one seemed to have any insight into what happened to Noah. Many claimed they were asleep, still partying, too intoxicated, or simply didn't see or hear anything. Noah's best friend's girlfriend even told authorities she didn't know him, which devastated his family. The only consistent information the partygoers provided was that Noah had been in a rollover ATV accident in the early morning hours of Monday, September 4th. They claimed he walked away unharmed and was checked out by a nurse at the party. Shortly after, they said Noah got into an argument with someone they believed was his girlfriend, causing him to walk out of the house, after which no one saw him alive again. Noah's family was left grappling with his brutal death while having zero answers. They wondered if the ATV accident was more serious than reported or if Noah had suffered a traumatic brain injury that led to his demise. The inconsistencies in the stories and the lack of concrete evidence made it challenging for authorities to piece together what truly happened to Noah Presgrove that fateful weekend. As time passed after Noah's tragic death, his family was left grappling with unanswered questions and unsettling rumors. They wondered if he had gotten into an argument and walked down the road, only to collapse and be hit by a car. Or perhaps something more sinister had occurred. The silence from his friends was deafening. They had hoped for answers or even condolences, but instead, it felt like a wall of silence had descended. Noah's family learned from one of his friends that they had been told by a parent to avoid speaking to them. This revelation was infuriating, as the very people who might have answers were being instructed to stay away. It was heartbreaking for Noah's family to think that the last people who saw their loved one were not coming forward with even the simplest information. 2 months after Noah's death, investigators finally ruled out the possibility of a pedestrian versus vehicle collision. Court filings revealed that they believed Noah had been forcibly pushed from the bed of a moving truck, a significant shift in the narrative. Noah's sister described him as a kind and gentle person who had no enemies, adding to the mystery of who could have harmed him. This new theory raised questions about whether someone at the party harbored resentment toward Noah or if a stranger had found him wandering on the road. If he had been pushed from a moving truck, it implied that at least 2 people were involved, the driver and the person who did the pushing. Yet, despite this announcement, the investigation was still in its early stages, and many questions remained unanswered. Noah's family worked tirelessly to piece together the events of that weekend. They confirmed that he attended the party on Saturday, returned home to shower, and then went back out on Sunday with a friend. However, conflicting stories emerged about what happened next. Some rumors suggested he was taken to a different town, while others claimed he was given rides by several different people. The confusion was maddening, and it felt like vital information was slipping through their fingers. Whispers circulated that Noah had been involved in arguments over the weekend, including one with his best friend, Jack. Jack was one of the first to arrive at the scene when Noah's body was found. Allegedly, Noah and Jack's girlfriend had been talking privately at the party, leading to a verbal argument between Noah and Jack. They eventually made up, but the tension lingered. As Noah's family continued to seek answers, they faced the frustration of inconsistent accounts and a lack of cooperation from those who were present at the party. The investigation seemed to stall, and the absence of the autopsy results only added to their anguish. They needed to know what had happened to Noah, who had been surrounded by friends who now seemed unwilling to help. The family remained hopeful that the truth would eventually come to light. They believed that someone out there had the answers they were desperately seeking. Noah's memory deserved justice, and his loved ones were determined to find out what truly happened that fateful weekend. As the weekend progressed, tensions escalated at the party where Noah had been. A second argument broke out when a guy accused Noah of stealing and hiding his phone. Known for his playful pranks, Noah didn't take the accusation lightly. The argument became physical when the other guy fish-hooked Noah in the mouth, prompting Noah to bite his finger in response. How the situation was resolved remains unclear, but the accused phone was eventually found under someone sleeping on the couch, leaving questions about whether it was a misunderstanding or if there was still lingering tension. Around 3 a.m., the partygoers claimed Noah decided to take an ATV belonging to his best friend, Jack. According to reports, Noah snuck into the room where Jack and his girlfriend were sleeping to grab the keys. He then took the ATV for a ride with 4 to 5 other guys. They were having fun until the ATV rolled over. Noah's family was understandably concerned about the possibility that the ATV accident could have caused more harm than reported. They wanted to know if the ATV had been checked for damage. Jack's father stated that authorities had examined the vehicle and found no significant damage, returning it shortly after. Following the ATV incident, partygoers claimed Noah was unharmed but covered in dirt and heavily intoxicated. To help him clean up, they decided to put him in the shower. However, accounts of this event varied widely. Some said Noah was coherent and joking around, while others claimed he was unresponsive. The number of people who helped him shower also differed, with some saying it was 2 guys, while others said it was girls. After he was cleaned up, Noah was dressed in a pair of Jack's white shorts, which are believed to be the same ones found near his body later. After getting dressed, Noah got into an argument with a girl at the party, described in some sources as his girlfriend, but his family clarified that she was actually the birthday girl hosting the party. The nature of their argument varies in retellings. One version suggests Noah tried to sleep in her bed after showering, but she insisted he sleep on the floor, which angered him. Another version claims she made advances toward Noah, which he rejected, leading to a confrontation. Regardless of the specifics, everyone agrees that Noah left the house around 3:15 to 3:30 a.m., just a few hours before his body was found. A Snapchat post from a partygoer at 3:41 a.m. showed her smiling with the caption, "Well, Noah is missing." This revelation upset many, as it raised the question, if they knew Noah was missing, why wasn't anyone looking for him? Noah had no car and was relying on friends for a ride home, making the lack of concern from those at the party feel particularly callous. His family was devastated, feeling that the people who were supposed to be his friends were not taking the situation seriously. The mystery surrounding Noah's final hours deepened, leaving his family desperate for answers and justice. They knew something was wrong and were determined to uncover the truth about what happened that night. After facing significant backlash, the birthday girl finally spoke out, claiming that no one realized the seriousness of the situation when Noah walked away. She explained that it was common for him to take a moment to cool off after getting heated during a party, so no one expected him not to return. As this information came to light, some previously deleted social media posts began to resurface. Noah's family learned that several people had taken screenshots or screen recordings of videos and pictures from the party. However, these clips didn't provide much insight into what happened to Noah. Most showed everyone having a good time, playing games, and being carefree. One concerning video captured the birthday girl and her sister arguing on the porch about Noah's disappearance. This indicated that people were aware he was missing and that it was causing some level of concern. Yet, despite this knowledge, no one seemed to actively search for him. Eventually, it was revealed that a few partygoers did attempt to look for Noah. They took an ATV and drove up the road where his body would later be found, but they reported not seeing anything. After their search yielded no results, they returned to the party, assuming Noah would come back on his own. This lack of urgency was baffling to Noah's family. They had seen how much care was given to him after the ATV accident, with friends bathing and dressing him, yet that concern seemed to evaporate when he walked off into the night. While no one was accused of wrongdoing, the series of poor decisions left a heavy weight on the investigation. Authorities eventually obtained warrants for several phones from the partygoers in hopes of recovering helpful information. While the police indicated that they found some useful details, they did not disclose what those were. As the investigation continued, Noah's family faced the painful task of saying goodbye. Friends and family gathered at the Comanche High School gym for his funeral, which drew a massive turnout from the community. Many wore shirts and jerseys in his honor, lining up to pay their respects to a beloved member of their town. Noah was remembered as a kind-hearted kid and an exceptional athlete, someone who would have made a positive impact on the world. The parking lot was filled with mourners, some of whom were total strangers, united in their grief for a life taken too soon. In the wake of this tragedy, Noah's family decided to create the Noah Presgrove Scholarship, aimed at supporting a senior from Comanche High School. This initiative was a way for them to honor Noah's memory and ensure that something good would come from their loss. They were determined to keep fighting for answers and justice, just as Noah would have wanted. As the investigation into Noah Presgrove's death continued, his family uncovered significant information regarding 2 phones that left the party house and traveled to the area where Noah was found. These phones then returned to the house, raising crucial questions about the timeline of events. Were these phones used by partygoers who claimed to have searched for Noah? Or did this indicate something more sinister about what happened to him? The lack of clarity left Noah's family with many unanswered questions. The case began to gain national attention, particularly after News Nation reported on it extensively. Their coverage brought renewed focus to Noah's story, which had been largely ignored by the media for months. Despite the ongoing investigation, Noah's family had been struggling to obtain the autopsy report, which had not been released for 8 or 9 months. Typically, such reports are withheld in criminal cases, but the family was desperate for answers. When News Nation directly contacted the medical examiner's office, the autopsy report was suddenly made available. The findings were shocking and detailed, revealing a long list of severe injuries that Noah had sustained. Noah's autopsy report detailed extensive injuries, including abrasions all over his face and neck, multiple broken teeth and lacerations in his mouth, suggesting he had been struck hard enough to bite down on his tongue and lip, hemorrhaging in various areas of his skull, along with several skull fractures, including a hinge fracture that requires significant force, a cracked base of the skull, which was described as being split into 2, severe trauma to his brain, with swelling and lacerations in 4 distinct areas, fractures in his cervical vertebrae, C1, C2, C6, and C7, with the C1 vertebra being displaced, a type of injury often seen in hanging cases, bilateral rib fractures and scapular fractures, which are rare and typically associated with severe trauma such as car accidents or falls. Despite the extensive damage to his upper body, Noah's lower body showed minimal injuries, which further complicated the theory that he had been involved in a hit-and-run accident. The severity of Noah's injuries underscored the urgency for justice. His family was determined to find out what happened to him, believing that someone out there held the key to the truth. They felt the weight of the unanswered questions pressing down on them, knowing that every day without answers was a day filled with heartache. As the investigation progressed, the Texas Rangers became involved, successfully obtaining a geofencing warrant around the area where Noah was found and the party house. This warrant allowed investigators to track any phones that entered that area during a specific time frame, potentially providing crucial evidence in the case. Noah's family remained hopeful that the renewed media attention and the involvement of law enforcement would lead to answers. They continued to advocate for justice, determined to honor Noah's memory and ensure that his story would not be forgotten. The community rallied around them, supporting their efforts to seek the truth about what happened to Noah on that tragic night. As the investigation into Noah Presgrove's tragic death continued, the family found themselves navigating a complex web of rumors and speculation. They spent countless hours sifting through discussions on social media, trying to discern fact from fiction. This process was overwhelming, and it highlighted the challenges faced by those seeking the truth amid a flood of misinformation. Noah's family, including his aunt, brother, sister, and cousin, remained active in their pursuit of justice. They utilized platforms like Facebook to share information and gather support from the community. With 3 private investigators now working on the case, and the FBI collaborating with local law enforcement, there was a renewed sense of hope that answers would soon emerge. A witness from the party claimed he saw Noah wearing black shorts when he arrived at the scene, despite Noah being found naked with white shorts nearby. This discrepancy raised questions about the reliability of his account. Furthermore, Jack, Noah's best friend, had reportedly announced Noah's death at 5:15 a.m., which conflicted with the timeline of events. Jack had texted his father around the same time, asking for a hat for their fishing trip, suggesting he was unaware of Noah's death. The witnesses claimed that Jack knew about Noah's death before the truck driver arrived, created additional confusion. If Jack had indeed woken up at 5:15 a.m. and alerted others, it would imply he had knowledge of the situation well before authorities were involved. This inconsistency led to speculation about the accuracy of the witnesses' timing and the events that transpired that morning. Adding to the narrative, the truck driver who discovered Noah's body came forward to share his account. He stated that he was the first on the scene and confirmed Noah was found naked, asserting that no one had tampered with the body. His testimony was crucial, as it provided a clearer picture of the moments following Noah's discovery. The truck driver's insistence that he was the only one present at the time added weight to the investigation, but it also raised further questions about what had happened to Noah before he was found. The community remained engaged, hoping that the combination of witness accounts and ongoing investigations would eventually lead to clarity. Despite the chaos and confusion surrounding the case, Noah's family continued to advocate for justice. They expressed gratitude to those who came forward with information, believing that every detail could help piece together what happened on that fateful night. The family remained hopeful that the renewed focus on the case would encourage others with information to step forward. As the investigation unfolded, the community rallied around Noah's family, supporting their quest for truth and justice. They organized fundraisers and awareness campaigns to keep Noah's story alive, emphasizing the importance of finding answers. The fight for justice was far from over, and the family was determined to ensure that Noah's memory would not be forgotten.